Hello again, everybody. Zack Attack is here in my WWE Raw review for the Monday, May 23rd, 2016, episode 1200 of Raw, taking place tonight from Baltimore, Maryland, the aftermath of Extreme Rules. Coming out of that pay-per-view, which was highlighted by only two really good matches, the rest of the call was kind of up and down. We're now headed down that road to Money in the Bank. Found out the main event and qualifying matches for 5 out of the 7 spots. And most of the qualifying matches were actually pretty good. And decent acts tonight, decent little things happen on Raw after Extreme Rules as we, like I said, head down the road to Money in the Bank. Now, before we get to Raw, another release took place before Raw. We, of course, saw the Cody Rhodes release last night that he asked for over the weekend. And now we had another release that we kind of saw coming. Stemming from his arrest of assault and battery a couple weeks ago, we all knew that the already suspended Adam Rose was headed out the door. And it's now official. Adam Rose has been released from the WWE earlier this afternoon. Like I said, he was always suspended from his wellness policy. Within on May 11th, he was assaulted in domestic battery and assault, as well as temporarily with a witness, headed to the indefinite suspension, and now he's full-on released. Sad that an assault and battery and all that stuff kind of ruined his career. It's already a ruined career. He had that, the party gimmick in NXT. Sometimes good gimmicks in NXT don't work on main roster. Just ask talent brings in the Ascension. But Adam wasn't a talented wrestler, good performer, but it got hampered by stupid gimmicks. And of course, his last major thing in the job spot, social outcast. We'll see how they would go, as we didn't see him on one night. So instead of seeing Adam Rose go, especially under these circumstances, hope he does well in his future endeavors. Start upon the pun from the term they use for all the releases. They're releasing people like crazy, whether it's because of cuts, or people asking for their release, or people getting fired just because of stupid incidents. So there you go. Wish luck to Adam Rose. Could he be in TNA? I'd rather see Ring of Honor. TNA sucks. I don't watch TNA much. They gave other guys never a chance. Like I said, look at Drew Galloway, also Mr. Kennedy Anderson. Even Matt Hardy, he's world champion. He was world champion in TNA, then he wasn't in WWE. ECW doesn't count. So there you go. Now on to Raw tonight, as we kicked over the man who made his long-awaited return last night doing the pay-per-view main event and the main event of Extreme Rules. I should have said it last night, but I'll say it now. Guess who's back? Back again. Seth is back. Tell woman. Seth is back. Seth is back. Yeah, T-Ray Rollins didn't say, felt so empty without me. And it kind of felt empty without the man. He's the man. And he may beat the good. So we saw the long return of Seth freaking Rollins. Came out to a big pop. Now he's a heel. In this case, sadly, he's being portrayed as the heel. You know what I mean? But we all knew that when he came back, whenever he did, he was going to get a big pop for coming back. For 2 reasons. 3 reasons. One, he had a devastating injury, bad injury, that would have required him 9 months to recover. He recovered in 6. He's kind of like John Cena. He's supposed to have a long recovery time, but he gets back faster than expected. Like Cena's next week. 2, they popped because of the fact that he never lost the championship. He lost it because of that devastating injury. And 3, the biggest one they popped to him. We all hate Roman Reigns. We all see Roman Reigns get his ass kicked. But Rollins came in, he was soaking up the energy in the building. Big pop for him, welcome, bat chance. Thank you, Rollins. He said, I've been waiting to come back. For some months, I've been biting at the bit to get back in that ring, to get back what I never lost. He fired the first shot at Reigns. Now, he's still using the pedigree. Still wish he brought back the curb stomp. But still using that pedigree. But then he's like, well, you guys are cheering me, but guess what? You thought I was weak. You thought I was a weak champion. You thought I was a coward, having to hide behind people to get victories. You thought I sucked. Even though I was carrying this cover in my back. I even said in my review of Extreme Rules last night, question the legitimacy of his reign being hindered by him always winning with screwy endings and interference, just like another current champion who is unfortunately heading down that same path. Charlotte. Rollins is a great wrestler before, but even like I said, question his reign with all the questionable finishes all the time. He had a great mic work to kind of save it. So then he's like, well, I got injured as I buckled. My knee buckled under the pressure of being champion and carrying the company on my back. And I got all these thank you letters and all these, well, get well letters that I never opened because I pulled into the ground. You know, they want to make people boo him. You know, because he's the heel. He's like, cheer me or boo me. I'm going to do what I want to do. And then beat Roman Reigns and get back my belt. Reigns came out without any boos. But a little bit of cheers. I think he won a little bit of his back last night in Extreme Rules. You know what I mean? He's trying to improve. Even Bubba Ray was defending the fact that even with Roman Reigns in that great Razor's Edge powerbomb combination into those vicious moves on AJ, Bubba Ray didn't like the fact that fans were chanting, "You still suck," last night. He said that on Twitter. So as Roman Reigns was going to run out and beat Rollins up, Rollins was going. Some would say coward move. Some would say smart move. So then here comes Shane to come in and make the match for Money in the Bank. Should have been SummerSlam. But we're going to get Roman Reigns against Seth Rollins for the WWE Whatever Championship. One of two things may happen. Rollins wins, or Reigns gets cashed in on if he wins by the person who wins the Money in the Bank briefcase. Now, out of the history of Money in the Bank, especially in the history of Money in the Bank when it's been its own entire entity, a pay-per-view of its own name instead of just being at WrestleMania, Kane, who won the SmackDown Money in the Bank when it was still two brands and two titles, Kane cashed it in that night, if I'm not mistaken. He cashed it in that night against Rey Mysterio. He's the only guy to cash it in the same night he won it. And now it's 6 years ago. So either Reigns wins and gets cashed in on, or Rollins wins. Or, of course, Reigns wins and no one cashes in on him. I don't want that ending. We all don't want another Reigns ending. But hey, he's the good now. So. And I do say this. Like, as much as I want people to cash in on Reigns, I don't want the guy who tries to cash in on Reigns gets buried like John Cena did to Damien Sandow when Sandow tried to cash in on Cena. Like trying to cash in on Super Reigns and like trying to cash in on Super Cena. You may get buried. But hopefully, it doesn't happen. At least Cena let one guy cash in on him. That was Edge. 2006. The very first Money in the Bank winner. So, that's my prediction. Either Reigns retains and nobody cashes in. Rollins wins, or Reigns wins and he gets cashed in on. But we've already seen someone cash in on Reigns. But it was the wrong person. Sheamus. And speaking of Sheamus, he was in our very first qualifying match for Money in the Bank as he took on Sami Zayn, coming off of his terrific showing in the Fatal 4-Way match for the IC Championship at Extreme Rules. The undisputed best match of the night of the pay-per-view. In each of qualifying, 3 out of 5 included 3 former Money in the Bank winners. And who's cashed in successfully for a title opportunity to get the title. Because Sheamus just won it last year. Cashed in on Reigns and Survivor Series. It was a ploy to get the fans to stop booing Reigns, but we didn't want Sheamus either. So there you go. Decent match to open up Raw. Sheamus trying to recover from the breaking up of the League of Nations, but he needs something big, especially with his appearance on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows coming out this week in the movie theaters. You haven't seen him much in the trailers, but if you made a new trailer, you see more of Sheamus than just blink and miss. You actually see him a lot more in the trailer that aired during Extreme Rules last night, and it ran at night on Raw. So it's fine. Sheamus going to use his big booty moves. Broody moves, not booty moves. So big nasty boots and kicks. And clotheslines. Nasty little clotheslines. But Sami delivered nasty clothesline too at one point to Sheamus. And uses high flying ability to get an edge. Speed against the power of the Celtic Warrior. But by Zayn's powerful high flying attack, some big high flying spots. Sheamus did come in, like I said, power spots, including Irish backbreaker. They tried to set up the brogue kick. But it was a kick. But it wasn't a brogue kick. It was a haluva kick. From Sami Zayn to get the victory. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sami Zayn. He also nailed the Blue Thunder Bomb as well. So there you go. Sami Zayn wins the first spot in the Money in the Bank ladder match. There'll be 7 guys in all. 5 matches took place tonight. The 2 will probably take place on SmackDown, or the 2 will also take place on Raw next week. We'll see what they do. If they have both card matches on SmackDown, or 1 on SmackDown, 1 on Raw next week, or both on Raw next week, we shall see how they speed it out when it comes to remaining 2 qualifying matches. But first spot with the Sami Zayn. Sheamus was upset being left out a new era. He even took it out on one of the opponents in the next qualifying match, Apollo Crews. Well, that was our 3rd qualifier, as Apollo Crews would be in the 3rd qualifier. But before we get to our 2nd qualifying matchup, which involved 2 of the men that were involved in the Fatal 4-Way on Sunday, we had a matchup involving The New Day. I haven't worn this shirt in a while because I've worn the Booty-O shirt. So I got 2 New Day shirts. This one and the Booty-O. So they came out, celebrated the victory over the Vaughn Villains and Extreme Rules in a fun little tag team affair. But they weren't just celebrating the victory. As I mentioned in the beginning of the show, and they were the ones that mentioned it, and also the announcers as well, while we're celebrating episode 1200. Huge achievement for Raw being 1200 episodes. But it's about to tease throwing the kick at people, including Michael Cole, which they should have. They were attacked by the remaining 3 members of the Shotzo Outcast. They actually made them look strong for a second. Instead of being the Job Squad, or there's a new term for these 3. The Soon to Be Fire Squad! Especially since Adam Rhodes just got suspended and fired, too. As I just mentioned at the beginning of the video. Second day in a row, we had a release take place before an event. Cody Rhodes is released before Money in the Bank. Predecessor. We're in Extreme Rules. And Adam Rhodes before War. So the Spice Girls, I guess, looking decent going. And, attacking New Day before the matchup. That was the only advantage they had. As New Day came in with their big flying moves. It was cool to see Xavier get a win for the team last night. Instead of being in the corner. It was cool to see him actually wrestle in a match against Valvez. I wanted to say that. Said it last night. I'll say it again tonight. Of course, he had a Unicorn Stampede. Whereas Biggie got in some big moves. And Hafe got knocked out by Big Ape. They almost went for like the victory walk. But he passed out. Not to stretch and capitalize with Biggie having a big splash in the corner. Well, David took him out with a big splash over the top. And laid out Slater with the double team finish. Biggie and Kofi did. 1, 2, 3 victory for the New Day. in an okay little squash of a 6-man tag. Who gets the next shot? Well, we have one tag team back in full strength, which I'll get to in a second. But Volvers may get a rematch. So we'll see what's up for New Day. And especially, who will be the team to take out New Day and end their monumental reign as the WWE World Tag Team Champions. Yeah, it's bad dancing, but hey. There you go. So now, next qualifying matchup. Anybody make qualifying? Cesaro and Miz. Miz pins Cesaro, stole the victory because Cesaro was laid out for the Luva kick. But Owens took out Zayn right before the referee could count to 3. So we had these two in a one-on-one encounter for Money in the Bank qualifying. Interesting position because Miz is not only a former Money in the Bank winner, but he's also a current IC champion. So I was like, who's going to win this one here? So it's a fun little matchup between these two guys. Saw coming with big moves, uppercut early in the matchup. But Miz, hate him or love him, he's playing his Hollywood character well. I like this little promo of the Miracle speech during the pre-show last night, and Maryse is adding to it. Having Maryse back at all, I'm glad she's a manager role instead of a wrestler. She's an okay wrestler. She was the prototype of the old divas gone. More on the looks than the wrestling. So despite Miz coming with his big moves, the count of the uppercut train of Cesaro, some big knees and moves. Cesaro came back, but Cesaro's injured shoulder, the surgery repaired shoulder, was targeted a lot by the Miz. I think got nailed against the turnbuckle post, should I say. And despite that arm getting targeted by Miz, Cesaro was swinging at one point, but the arm gave out during the swing. And Miz tried to capitalize with the skull-crushing finale. But then he went off the top rope and got caught with a big uppercut. And even if he didn't have the arm strength to do the swing, he still ended up straightening the bad arm to help get the neutralizer locked in and connected it on Miz in the 1-2-3 victory for Cesaro. Not only did he pin the IC champion and get himself a IC title match at SmackDown, but also got himself another spot filled in Money in the Bank. Second qualifier being Cesaro, which I was hoping for. I don't think Miz has been a winner before, but I think Cesaro should be in it. More than Miz. So, there you go. Now we have a third qualifier. We have Chris Jericho against Apollo Crews, who was taken out by Kevin Owens, but he went on with the matchup. Question the fact that Apollo Crews got pushed on the main roster, I think, too soon. In my humble eyes, I think a lot of people probably agree with me that he should have stayed in NXT a little bit longer. But this was now his highest profile match on Raw. The highest profile superstar he's faced up against, instead of like a social outcast again, or Dudley or something. But this was Apollo's best match on the main roster thus far. He looked pretty good in that matchup. Fun little matchup in this matchup. Like I said, Crews, like I said, too soon for him, but he looked pretty good. Coming with his big power moves, even if Jericho was calling him, "You idiot!" I think he should make a t-shirt of that. "You idiot!" Because Jericho tried to recover from losing the great spot, but a bad overall slow match against Dean Ambrose in the Asylum match. And Jericho tried to play all heel. And Crews, like I said, he fed off it. He looked pretty good in the matchup. Jericho made him look good here. Because he's a veteran. He makes anybody look good. I think this is, like I said, Crews' best match on main roster. Question. Soon he was on, but still. So as Crews gives a big fire, he moves, power moves, you get the $1 billion smile. But that smile was turned upside down after Jericho tried numerous times to the walls of Jericho. But got a big kick in for, I think it was like a kind of a botched little spot. But he recovered the cold breaker. And a 1-2-3 victory for Chris Jericho, getting the third spot in Money in the Bank. Now, the next matchup involved Big Cass taking on another member of the Dudley Boyz, Bubba Ray. He took on Devon last week on Raw, but this time he had help. We have the return of Enzo Amore. He's been out for a couple weeks after his concussion at Payback. Now, like the Dudley Boyz and Enzo and Cass's feud was probably going to continue past Payback, because Dudley Boyz probably would have been involved in the finish of the Vaudevillains Enzo and Cass match until that bad spot for Enzo Amore. But not only did they still use Big Cass during that unfortunate turn of events, but also still had him feud with the Dudley Boyz, who didn't have a payoff match against Enzo and Cass. The only kind of payoff match they had was the tag team tournament match, which Enzo and Cass won, which probably would have set up Dudley Boyz, costing the match at Payback until that spot happened with Enzo. So I think we're going to have a match at Money in the Bank. It was nice to see Enzo back, especially with his mic work. Wearing his Jordan Thriller jacket. That's why I like Enzo. I've always been a fan of his since NXT days. So Cass with his big flying moves, or big strong moves, big kicks and stuff. He got a little distracted for a bit by Devon, with Bubba capitalized on it. But Enzo took care of Devon, especially with Big Cass tossing Enzo into Devon. Maybe medically cleared to wrestle, but he's still able to be involved in physical spots, especially when Devon attacked Enzo, which caused the spot when Enzo got thrown into Devon with Big Cass. So Cass took care of Bubba Ray in an okay little squasher, big boot, leading up for the Empire Elbow in the victory for Big Cass. Like I said, we could see these two teams face off in a match at Money in the Bank. That's what we're heading towards. The payoff match is supposed to be sooner, but it would have been a little bit sooner if Enzo didn't get injured. Now on to the segment of the night, which a lot of people be up and down about. The Charlotte Championship Celebration. This kind of redeems the match from last night, but you got a long way to go to try to recover from two screwy endings in a row during a women's title match. Well, I don't count Mania's screwy ending as a third, because even if, yes, Flair got involved in the ending of the Mania match, but it didn't ruin the match. It didn't ruin the match like the ending screwy endings ruined the last two pay-per-view matches for the Women's Championship involving Charlotte and Natalya. They had a great match last night. The submission match was great until the appearance of Dana Brooke in disguise. Now, I don't mind Dana Brooke team went with Charlotte, but the way they nailed it and executed it was bad for Natalya. But the championship celebration could have made up for it. Especially the turn which should have happened a long time ago. Charlotte was celebrating, and Flair was like, "I'm so proud of you, honey." You know, bumping his words a bit. But he didn't recover. And then Charlotte had a little bit of a long promo. And I did like Charlotte here. She got flustered a bit. You could tell. Because people were saying, "What?" The crowd in Baltimore was decent. And they kind of trolled this segment. Trying to troll with the whats. And I'm glad Charlotte kind of like, "I'm talking!" and trying to recover from it. But she did seem flustered. And yelling aside during this promo, this was a nice promo she did. I know a lot of people maybe ignore that she yelled during most of it. But still, I did like the execution of it. Saying that during Thanksgivings and Christmases, my mother would tell me, "You'd be away." And this is what I've been wanting to see a long time. I've been wanting to see this finally happen. It finally did. Charlotte finally turned on her dad, saying that the stipulation last night, Extreme Rules, that you are now allowed at ringside, proved to me that I don't need you anymore in my corner. I'm going to do the Brooklyn call screwy finishes. And I was like they got rid of Flair finally. But you have another new person that will ruin matches as well, like she did last night against Natalya. Then we put a lot of effort into revitalizing the women's division, but they ruined it with the last two screwy endings. Charlotte is almost like Seth Rollins. Other matches have been playing with screwy endings. But most of the screwy endings were fine. for the most part. Especially the ending at Mania wasn't that bad. Like, it didn't ruin the match. The last two screw endings ruined the fucking match. The screw job finish, and of course, Dana Brooke finished last night. But I did like when Shaw was like, she made a dad. It was kind of uncomfortable with her, you know, his flesh and blood breaking up. I bet you it was probably uncomfortable for her, not just in ring, but also outside, because, you know, it's a dad. And having to split up. But the way she nailed it, yelling aside, like, get out of my ring! But, like, she's like, I'm gonna make you cry, you wanna cry, daddy, you wanna cry? I didn't like that little part, and she looked good in it. You know, she was a great heel mic. I think I liked the mic work last week. I also liked it this week. Now, a lot of people may say the yelling may have put off some people, but I liked it. So now we have Dana and Charlotte together. Dana needed a new partner after Emma got injured. So now she's with Charlotte. Nice move. Even if they should have had Dana get involved doing Raw. Should have been involved in a Raw match. Not be involved in a pay-per-view match. That's what I thought about it after it. I was like, Dana should have been involved. She should never got involved in the match at all in the pay-per-view. She should have attacked somebody doing Raw and not get involved in the matchup and having another screwy finish for a women's title match on a pay-per-view. So, there you go. But we know that Sasha's going to be back soon from her concussion and finally get a feud against Shaw, and hopefully they do it fucking right and try to make up for the Shaw and Natalia feud that failed to live up to expectations with screwy finishes and an okay build. But the screwy finishes really ruined the feud. So, it was kind of an uncomfortable but a career-defining move for Charlotte. You know, finally splitting up from her dad and finally being her own woman. And not having to be held down by her dad. I even said it. She can be a cheater, like her dad. But she doesn't need to be with her dad to really stamp the point across more. She don't need her dad. And I'm glad she finally got rid of him, finally. But now we have a new match-screwing woman to be involved in her stable. And that's Dana. Now on to the fourth Money in the Bank qualifier. Another former winner, Dolph Ziggler. Taking on Dean Ambrose. Stemming from his match last night against Jericho. It was a good spot match, but the real action in between those spots was boring and dull. And his momentum he had from the build from the Triple H match at Rollins and the build against Lesnar, that was just thrown out the drain as well. Like the build you had for the women's division was thrown out the drain the last two pay-per-views. And the build you had, the momentum you had for Dean Ambrose coming up the feud against Triple H and Brock Lesnar went down the drain with Jericho, especially with boring match and Extreme Rules. Even if he win, he didn't really win anything because the match was dull. But he had a decent matchup against Dolph Ziggler. Was way better than the match against Jericho. And also, I forgot to say this as well, that Jericho and Cruz's match, way better than the Jericho Ambrose match as well. Both their matches were better than their own match last night. You know, separate matches were better than their match. So, anyway, these little show-off matches with these two great wrestlers. I love both these guys. Been fans of these guys. They kind of been in the same position. You know, they get pushed a little bit and the momentum goes down. Of course, Ziggler trying to come back from a loss against Baron Corbin. But Corbin was still in his mind. His match against Corbin next week and what he's calling a technical wrestling match. Because he lost in a no DQ match. But I think Evan agrees with me. It wasn't really a no DQ match. It didn't feel like it. The only time you ever saw the no DQ rule being amplified was the low blow finish from Baron Corbin. So despite Ziggler trying to push off Corbin, some big nasty moves, including some nasty super kicks, great counter to Ambrose, and a famous at one point. Ambrose came back with his big moves. A nasty clothesline. And Ziggler was going for his big finish. Ambrose ducked out of it and ran in with his finisher, the Dirty Deeds, and got the victory. 1, 2, 3 for Dean Ambrose, getting that fourth slot. We have a couple of rivalry. We have a rivalry in this matchup now. When I saw the matches be signed, I was like, Jericho's going to win and then Ambrose is going to win because they're in the match. But they don't need another match together. hopefully this will be the last involvement of these two in anything. Because they don't need to have another singles match. Especially after that God-boing match at Extreme Rules. It's like the Triple H Brock Lesnar feud. It doesn't matter what match you put them in. The match still sucks because they have no chemistry. Kind of like Ambrose and Jericho. So, before we get to our final main event qualifier, AJ Styles against Kevin Owens, I think probably the best spot, the best qualifier tonight. And I'm glad it was the main event. Especially keeping AJ in the main event picture, especially after losing his second match in the Raw against Roman Reigns. Usually when you lose against the top guy, it means your career goes down the drain. Look at Kevin Owens. His career never recovered for a bit. He lost a little bit of momentum after he lost to Cena 2 pay-per-views in a row. But hopefully AJ won't suffer that fate after he had 2 pay-per-view losses against Roman Reigns. But he split off from the club tonight. There's been a lot of questions about, is he really involved in the club? It's kind of like been a building story that's been kind of like leading to confusing answers. But AJ's like, we're friends, personally, professionally. I didn't need you guys to be in there with Reigns. I just took it just to get you off my back. But I still want you to know that I love you as friends. Professionally, I don't want you by my side. I want to be by myself. Because I want to be a champion and don't need anybody's help. And Gal's answer is like, well, we're not going to be your friends anymore. I thought they were going to come in and screw AJ over in the matchup tonight. That never happened. But this could be lead off to a couple things. Gallows and Anderson not to be hindered by AJ. And I think they could be the ones to feud New Day next. I said it earlier in the show about who's next for New Day. I think Gallows and Anderson. Now that they let go of AJ, I think they need to do what they should be doing. Be a badass tag team, take everybody out, and make a statement and feud against New Day. That's what should happen now. Now that they're no longer hindered by AJ. AJ is kind of like a handicap for them. Even if they're a Bullet Club. But the way they were booking it, AJ kind of hindered them. But now, maybe one day they can all get together. But it also could be a setup for Balor coming in. If he loses to Joe at NXT TakeOver on June 8th. I don't know a subtitle yet. So now into our next qualifier, the final one of the night, AJ against Kevin Owens. This was a fun matchup. I know they wrestled a few months back, proving why they should have been at WrestleMania, or should have had a feud over the IC Championship when Owens was champion. 2 guys are formerly Ring of Honor. And they had a fun match. Great matchup. And I love that 2 new guys were in the main event of a Raw, and not fucking Reigns. Yeah! That was a good thing. That is, we guarantee that a new guy would be standing tall and not fucking Reigns. Doesn't matter who won. Because I love both these guys. So great fun match with these 2 guys from good spots, including Kevin Owens' powerbomb on AJ on the steel steps. Trying to recover from a botch AJ. I think AJ was going for like a springboard at one point. But he tripped on the ropes. And nailed Owens instead with a big knee from the apron. Trying to recover from that botch. He did recover. And that led to the powerbomb on the steel steps. It was a fun match between these 2 great, dramatic, athletic guys. Owens coming with the cannonball splash. Numerous times going for the powerbomb. And also he went for the moonsault. I thought he was going to go for the frog splash. But he never did. The 6-star frog splash. Some call it the bull frog splash. And Owens was playing great heel again. Like, that was phenomenal. You know, I love when he said to Michael Cole, "Shut up, Cole, I can hear you from here." Here's a little thing with Cole. If you haven't noticed in some of his matches, like he badmouths Cole. They have a little feud or something. Which is great because Cole sucks. So, even Owens' big powerful moves, AJ still came flying back with some nasty moves. With some big, even a Pele kick at one point. And a big 450 splash. When Owens kicked out of it. It was a fun little main event. Great main event tonight. Between 2 great guys like I mentioned. So despite AJ's big powerful moves, including trying to go for the 450, and like I said, he did nail Owens with a Pele, and tried numerous times at the Styles Clash. Owens would always counter, but the biggest counter of all was when AJ was trying to go for the phenomenal forearm. He got tripped up on the ropes by Owens, landing straight in the middle of the ropes, setting up the upper power bomb from Owens, connecting it, 1, 2, 3 victory. KO, getting the 5th spot in a Money in the Bank qualifier. When I saw these matches, I think we kind of knew who would win. First match, Sami Zayn, Sheamus. Sami Zayn should win. Then it was like, that means Owens is all but guaranteed to win, so they'll be in the match as well. Because their feud can continue. Because Owens kind of screwed Sami Zayn over. Because Sami, as I mentioned earlier, he did have the lubricant at one point nailed on Cesaro. And almost seconds away from winning the IC Championship in the Fatal 4-Way until Owens pulled him out, causing Miz to steal the victory when Cesaro still laid out from the lubricant. So their feud continues. They're both in Money in the Bank. And when Jericho and Cruz was announced, knew Jericho would win. Then Ambrose would win over Ziggler. And now, we also have Cesaro. Now, we have 2 spots filled. But if I would have to pick a winner out of these 5 guys who are now qualified, it's tough. I love them all. But you got to decide about who deserves it the most. Who would really benefit the most from getting the briefcase. Cesaro or Ambrose. They both need it right now. One of them needs it. Especially Ambrose, who has a lot of momentum. Downward. Needs some upward momentum again. So, I'm about to get a more cohesive prediction when we find out who fills those 2 slots that are remaining. So we have 5 men of the 7 named for Money in the Bank. We have a main event set between Waynes and AJ. I don't know what's next for Charlotte. It could be a tag team match to hold her off from any more title defenses until she starts her one-on-one feud against Sasha for SummerSlam if Sasha recovers quick from a concussion. And with Rusev now U.S. champion, we didn't even see him tonight after defeating Kalisto. But could set up a feud against Cena again, but hopefully this time Rusev gets over on Cena instead of ruining momentum like Cena did last year when Rusev lost the U.S. Championship. He was never the same after losing to Cena. Hopefully this time Cena lets him get over him and gets his ego out of the fucking way. It's a new era, Cena. We don't know where you fit in, but it's a new era. Trying to be a new era. Feels old, kind of, but it's the new era with new guys coming in. So there you go. With my review of Monday Night War for tonight. Thank you so much for watching. With that in mind, you've been attacked by the review from Zach. Have a good night, everybody. See ya. Oh, yeah.